Will humanity survive its own success? Or has survival always been the problem? Every discovery, every triumph, poisoned by greed. Fossil fuels, plastics, even the atom itself, tools of survival turned into weapons of ruin. Comfort is the finest cage ever built. Give a man light, warmth, and a full belly, and he will never dream beyond the walls that hold him. That is why Earth stagnates. We are not running out of time. We already have. Glacial melt at record pace. CO2 at 421 parts per million. Oceans choking with microplastics. The data is clear. Earth's end is not imminent. It is past due. Hello, I'm Dr. Julian Vale, and together we will test the one question that matters. Can humanity adapt when stripped of comfort? Can we endure where Earth has failed us? This is the... The first three subjects emerge: Dorian, Leo, and Nico. Freshly printed, awaiting orders, unaware that every choice I make decides whether they live or vanish into record. They look to me for guidance, for purpose, for survival. I waste no time. We begin with stone and soil. A cavern wall torn down, the first wounds carved into this place. But the colony is not alone. A hatch scurries in the dark, a thief of resources, a rival for survival. I choose violence. The creature falls. Its body becomes rations. A grim beginning. But waste is a luxury we cannot afford. Beyond the dig site, a cavern suffocates with carbon dioxide. Yet within it, copper ore, coal, the blood and bone of progress. But even opportunity can kill. For now, restraint. That chamber will remain sealed, its riches untouched until we are ready to breathe its poison. Their rest and comfort must be cut. Efficiency is survival. Downtime compressed, luxury stripped. Work is their only bath, their only ritual. Humanity has always survived by labor, and here, it will be no different. The first crude restrooms are built, humble but necessary. Civilization begins with sanitation, after all. The day ends with nothing more than nutrient bars. Tasteless fuel, enough to silence hunger. And when exhaustion overtakes them, my duplicants collapse in the dirt, huddled by the printing pod. The first night of Nova Somnus. The work continues. The shaft extends downward, breaking into a lower cavern rich with oxygen and hosts. Shine bugs, harmless for now, drift like wandering lanterns in the dark. We turn our focus upward as well, carving out a spine for this place, one ladder at a time. To the east, I mark a chamber for rest. They'll need beds soon, though, for now. The volunteers endure. I linger on Oxylite, these pale blue stones sublimating into breath. 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 170 kilograms. Our lifeline, eroding in silence. I don't disturb it. For now, it gives freely. At day's end, they follow their rhythm. Latrine, rations, rest. I watch and wait. On cycle 3, the volunteers rise to a different kind of meal today. Meat carved from the hatch we felled earlier. A grim but necessary truth. Free food and one less mouth stealing the resources we need. Dorian surveys the space chosen for our future quarters and gives his elated approval. We carve out the frame of the bedrooms, stone by stone, then hollow the chamber beneath so debris can tumble down, leaving order where chaos once stood. The printing pod flares to life, a beacon of promise, offering us another set of hopeful faces. But timing is everything. We leave it waiting while the day unfolds. Another hatch crosses our path, and again, survival outweighs mercy. At day's end, our options present themselves. None are what we need. An operator will be vital to what comes next, so the volunteers remain 3. The rejected batch fades back into the void. Tonight, our pioneers sleep once more on cold stone. The pods glow, their only lamp. I pause to glance over their morale. The buff of new hope clings to them still. 70 seconds of courage left, a borrowed strength destined to fade. The 4th day begins with the blueprinting of a permanent bedroom. Our volunteers are finally close to having a proper space of their own. Dorian's experience ticks upward, though not quite enough for a new skill. And while the team worked, I noticed something off. The latrine wasn't giving its morale bonus. For a second, I thought we'd lost it. Switching into room view confirmed my paranoia. At first, nothing. Then, after a pause and an unpause, the overlay flickered blue. The bonus locked in. Crisis averted. Next, I laid down plans for our first research lab beside the printing pod. Positioning it here grants a lit workspace buff, giving our researcher a boost to productivity thanks to the glow of the pod's light. I placed the research table, then the generator, and finally a small battery to store the effort. Above them, a diffuser blueprint marked the beginning of sustainable oxygen production. Construction began in earnest, and for a while, I just watched as the colony started to take shape. By nightfall, the volunteers rested for the first time in proper cots, a milestone in comfort, though dinner was, admittedly, undocumented. The colony breathes easier and the future looks just a little more organized. The volunteers rose to another dawn in the void, their tasks clear and their spirits steady. Today, the foundation we'd drawn on blueprints began to take form in metal and stone. One by one, the final tiles and machines locked into place, a skeleton of industry around our fragile colony. But it was the oxidizer, the diffuser, that mattered most. The machine that would turn algae into breath, into survival. I slowed my watch as the first handful of green was delivered, waiting for the promise of air. The machine groaned, sputtered, hesitant, almost doubtful, and then it exhaled. A gurgle, a cloud of life. Our base breathed for the first time, and as we close, so too does our first chapter. We've carved out rooms, fought hunger, rejected the unfit, and earned our first night of real rest. But survival is only the beginning. And in the cycles ahead, the true struggle will begin. With the first breath of fresh air, the volunteers have truly begun their fight for survival. But oxygen is only the start. Power, food, and sanity won't come so easy. If you want to see whether this colony thrives or collapses, join us now. Hit subscribe and be part of the mission before the next